About 100 of them have been put up in hotels, but there
Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and you're watching the Morning Forecast Show. We aim to be live 2 hours before the opening bell every single trading day. However, lately, because I have lots of these different hospital appointments and baby appointments, you do have to bear with me, and especially next month when hopefully the baby's born. But anyway, we try to be live 2 hours before the opening bell every single day. And today we are starting off with a market correction. Across the markets, especially in Asia, we are seeing a crash in the Asian markets and quite a big sell-off in the US market. So can everyone please hit that like button on your way in? Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Go check out the newsletter. We just posted a update to Portfolio Challenge, a little mini update in the private chat. I told you what I've just bought. And also, we're going to be posting a further update to that portfolio challenge where we are trying to turn $5,000 into a substantial portfolio. If you want the updates on that, you can sign up to newsletter, first link in the description, plus all the daily news. Let's go to our very own newsletter to begin off the day with the news that's going on. So here we go. Markets opening in 90 minutes. Let's get into it. Tuesday, the 3rd of March, the top stories today. Iran attacks Saudi capital. Drones hit the US embassy in Riyadh as regional conflict escalates and vital oil routes close. It's all about the war today. Strait of Hormuz is officially shut down. Drone strikes on any ships passing there now. We've got Qatar halting global gas production. Strikes forced a production stop, causing European gas futures to jump 50% in 2 sessions. We've got South Korean markets crash hard. We've got the Kospi index plunging 7%. Markets in its I just saw a comment that made me laugh. Someone just said in the chat, Daddy Pascal said, "Who's tired of winning?" it's not been a great year, has it? Anyway, South Korean markets crash hard. The Kospi index plunged over 7%, marking its largest point drop ever amid regional energy fears. Remember, the Asian market, a lot of it, their oil is imported. US caps Nvidia China sales. New export limits of 75,000 AI chips per customer threaten to curb Chinese tech growth significantly. Drone strikes hit Amazon data hubs. Impacted Middle East facilities suffered damage, causing bank outages and disrupting critical digital services. These are some of the top stories. I do want to go ahead over to the news for just 1 second, and so we can get those headlines on the hour. If we go back 5 minutes on some of these news channels, we'll get the headlines on the hour. So let me get that one over there. And if we go over, this is Rachel Reeves talking right now, giving her spring statement. No one really wants to listen to Rachel Reeves this morning, in all honesty. So let's see if we can find their coverage of the war. Here we go. These are just live pictures. I don't think we're getting any. These are just live pictures from Sky News. Bear with me. I want to bring you the news. If not, we'll just go to our different news sources. I think we'll go over here to our other news sources when they start. Here we go.
Have procedures in place should further air attacks happen.
John Soropoulos reporting there. It's coming up to 1300 hours GMT, 4 p.m. in Doha. I'm fully back, Thibault. You're watching.
We're just having a quick look at the headlines of today, then we'll get into our stories.
And Iran. Let's bring you up to speed with the latest developments on day 4. The Israeli military says it's carrying out simultaneous attacks on Iran and Lebanon. This is Beirut, the Lebanese capital, where the Israeli army says it's striking Hezbollah.
We are seeing strikes now in Lebanon, Lebanon striking Israel, Israel going after a big wave of attacks. We've just got a super chat come through. Look at this. This is incredible. Thank you very much, Bitcoins Craig. Round 2,463 for the baby. Thank you so much.
Displacement in Lebanon. The UN Refugee Agency estimates at least 30,000 people have registered at shelters in Lebanon. Meanwhile, Iran has launched dozens of attacks on Israel and U.S. assets across the Middle East. Multiple interceptions have taken place in parts of northern and central Israel. In Iran, at least 787 people have been killed since Saturday, according to the Iranian Red Crescent. Airstrikes have been targeting several cities, including the capital, Tehran, Isfahan, and
So it is continuing. Mainly oil was the story for today, and energy.
In the United Arab Emirates, after debris from an intercepted drone caused a major fire, the U.S. State Department has ordered the departure of non-emergency government personnel and their family members from Jordan, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and Kuwait. Well, we have a team of correspondents around the world.
We will come back to the news. We'll go up to the live. Let's see if there's anything happening right now. Nope. Okay, what we're going to do is go through our top stories. So what's happening, then we'll look at the markets. A quick look at the markets before we do get into our stories. We saw oil jump again today, a massive jump, a lot of volatility on oil. And again, one of our trades was, again, successful on oil. Remember when we met, oh, what's going on there? I keep drawing on the chart. When we looked at $71, it went from $71 straight to our target of $77. You can see that target was hit. Why is these not playing?
Marty tipped £2 through Super Chat. For round 2,643 for baby.
Thank you, C. Marty. Appreciate it. If you guys don't know what everyone's talking about, on I think it was Sunday night, we had a live stream, and I think Martyn started off. He sent a super chat in, seeing if everyone does $1 super chat, because there were 600 people watching, and Martyn suggested kitting out the nursery. So we had an amazing super chat night on Sunday, and I think there was 3 rounds. Vaz was leading the rounds. And everyone was doing $1 super chat. Some people were doing more, which was incredible. So thank you to everyone who participated in that. This is what everyone means by round 2,643. Okay, let's get back to the chart. So oil did spike all the way to $77, now selling off a little bit, but oil, everyone thought it's over, but no, we were bullish on it, and it has hit our next target. I do think oil can head over $80, $90, and even potentially, depending on how long the war goes on, if it does go on for 4 weeks, then we can see $100 on oil as well. The S&P 500 down 1.5% this morning. It was down a lot more earlier as well. If I can give you the direct figure of how much it was down earlier, it was down as much as 2% this morning. So now only down 1.5%. So, I mean, if you zoom out the S&P 500 chart, we have been saying this is a topping out structure on the S&P 500. And realistically, the S&P 500 can certainly head down a lot more. I mean, the first target's still about 1% away. And then if you start wanting to go back to your bull market support bands, we'll be looking at least another 4% drop from these levels, 4 to, and if we're going into a really high level of value and the S&P 500, a 4 to 10% drop is where I would get interested in the S&P 500. But yeah, we haven't really seen a crash on the market, so this is nothing. This is just a tiny correction in the US markets. It was down 2% on the day, which is fairly significant. The Asian markets are showing a crash story, but the US markets, they haven't seen anything yet. So be prepared for the downside, but also be prepared for the upside. As I always say, be prepared for all scenarios. But if you think this is the end and it can't go any lower and you're over leveraged, then you are in a bit of a sticky situation, because it can certainly be much worse. Sorry, just checking all our feeds. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I'm just checking some feeds coming in. Oh, okay, I understand. One of my scenes was wrong. Okay. The Nasdaq 100 is down over 1.8% right now. Bitcoin down 2% on the day after having quite a bounce yesterday. Everyone got too excited, and look, we just made a lower high. People get too excited too quickly. Bitcoin down now 2.5%. XRP down 2.75%. I've got the chart of the day on XRP in the newsletter. Go and check it out. The FTSE 100 having an awful day today, down 2.8%, nearly 3%. The FTSE's worst day in a long, long time. Gold down 3%, profit taking, volatility. Ethereum down 3.5%, and silver down 8%. Again, a lot of volatility in the metals market today. I did do a purchase of some certain metals. I put it out to the newsletter subscribers on what I've done in the metals industry, and there's probably more to come. Let me go over to live chat, welcome everyone in, and then we'll go into the news of the day. Please do hit the like button if you have just tuned in. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and then we'll be going over to Martyn in just under in about 45 minutes. C. Marty says, we love you, Sensei. Thank you, C. Marty. Really appreciate it. Currently 24 degrees, sunny and bright. Oh, I love it. I love it, Jacko. One of the biggest super chats on Sunday. Thank you, Jacko. Lovely to have you here. According to charts, what do we need to break for XRP for it to tank? For it to tank? Well, I mean, I don't think, I mean, there's tanks just, when you get big market corrections, they're not caused by a magic line on a chart. They're mainly caused by liquidation events, and then they line up with chart levels. There's been a few of those like really important lines. One was $2. $1.90, $2. That was one very technical level, and you can say if we break $2, we tank. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, and $2 was such an important level. Since we broke $2, in about 15 days, we went down 41%. So again, it might not happen on the day. There might be some volatile candles, and then it ultimately plays out. But $2 was such an important level. We couldn't hold it. We were down 41% in 14 days. That's why we cover those levels. 138 to me is an important level. Is it as important as $2? Probably not. But 138, the longer we stay below it, the more likely we are to come down to $1. So 138 to $1 is that another 40%. So that's about another 25% drop. So that's an important level, and we're below 138. It's not as easy as we're below 138 tomorrow. We're going to come down 25%. That's not how it works. The only time you get big moves like that is when you get a liquidation cascading effect, which you get maybe once a quarter in crypto, or a couple times a year. And then you get mini liquidation events a few times a month. Where you get 10, 20% drops, and then 2 or 3 big events a year where you get 40% drops, 50% drops. And that's the only time you get a sudden drop. When we look at technical levels like $2, they're very significant levels, and it takes 14 days for it to come down 40%. We're below 138. If we stay below 138, then we expect to come down to close to $1. That's 25%, maybe in 2 weeks, for example. So 138 is an important level. There could be bounces along the way. Of course, $1 is the next big important level. If we break $1, which we could, essentially what could play out is we get a rally. If the war starts ending, then we go into May, then we get the secondary flush out if we're following the 4-year cycle. Then XRP will go potentially flush below $1. Then it'll start growing again until, if we look at the 4-year cycle again, we look at October. Then we have the final capitulation where we actually break below $1. And that could be the time when $1 is so important that when we break it, because all the buy orders went through in May, for the market participants, when we break $1 that time, that's when you can suddenly have a flush and that one major liquidation event where you go from $1 to 60 cents, and that marks the bottom of the crypto bear market, and the next day you're back above $1. So again, it's not just break a level and then you cascade. It's when you get those big crashes is because of a cascading liquidation effect. But also if you break key levels, that's more of it could happen in weeks rather than just on the day. Hopefully that answers your question. Good morning, everyone. See Marty, Craig, I can only type with one hand at the moment. Had an accident at work which sliced my finger in half. Oh, God. See, Marty, I'm so sorry to hear that. We're wishing you a quick recovery. That sounds awful. Oh, my God. So you're going to be slow typing. We will bear with you, see Marty. Thanks for still being here. There's just hedging for next events. Metals will rise again. Yeah, I've gone in on metals when it dipped, says C. Marty. My thoughts on metals is silver will potentially go back to $100. Maybe it'll test its highs. Gold will go to all-time highs this year. So that's my thoughts on the main 2 metals. And then obviously I've got my thoughts on copper, which is in the newsletter and everything. Anyway, that's XRP. Bitcoin currently at $67,000. Again, we'll see. Is it going to break this downwards trend? If it does, then that's when we can start looking at 75,000, 90,000. Right now, it's being rejected, so we'll keep an eye on this downwards trend. S&P 500 now rallying again, just like yesterday. It was down a lot in the pre-market, and then it rallied. It's the same thing going to happen today. Well, right now, we are seeing a rally into the market open, still down 1.3%. Let's keep an eye on all these. Let's go to some news. Let's go here for a second. Nope, nothing important going on there. Let's go over here. We're getting a press conference. Let's listen in.
Reserve the right to retaliate. And as I said, our leaders are considering right now all the options on the ground. Our main focus right now is in protecting our sovereignty, protecting our people, protecting the residents who live here in Qatar of 140 nationalities. And we, as mentioned before, our armed forces, our great armed forces, are doing a wonderful job in protecting our country very bravely and have shown their capability in defending our country against any threat. So our focus right now is on that. Regarding communicating with Iran, at the moment there are no ongoing communications. As I said, we are focused on protecting our sovereignty.
Let's bring in Laura Khan, who was at that press briefing of the Qatari Foreign Ministry. So what more did we hear from Qatar about Iran's attacks on energy infrastructure here?
Yeah, so that was Dr. Majid Al-Ansari, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And as you heard there, he said Iran has crossed all red lines, and one of those red lines has been the energy infrastructure. Now, they shut down the liquid naturalized gas in Ras Laffan in the north of Qatar, and also Massaid. This is all the kind of energy infrastructure. They send around 20% of the world's energy needs from these plants. So this is going to have kind of huge ramifications around the world. But Dr. Al-Ansari made it clear that their priority before anything, before the world's energy needs, is the safety and security of 140, as he said, citizens living in Qatar at the moment. He also spoke about the Hamad at Doha Airport. Now, one of the big issues, obviously, this is a major international hub for people coming not only into the country, but using it as a stopover for all over the world. And up until Saturday, essentially, we were seeing planes in the sky every evening. Now they're being replaced by military planes. Not long ago, we saw a C-130, this kind of a huge Herculean military plane. So a lot has changed. He said around 8,000 people are now stranded in Qatar. They were planning on leaving. They were planning to go to other countries. But he said that they are now extending the visas for those people. They are putting them up in hotels. And he said the most important thing is they listen to information coming from the ministries and not listen to misinformation. When they're told to shelter in place, he said this is what they should do, and he will keep an eye essentially on the situation. But the most important thing he said is they've thwarted attacks to, again, more civilians.
Remember, Qatar is responsible for a lot of natural gas, which is having an effect on European markets. We've seen the FTSE 100, which is actually open right now, down 2.7% today, a massive decrease on the FTSE 100. We'll keep an eye on these markets while they're opening, but let's go to our very own newsletter and let's give you some news. So, the great energy fracture, the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and the halt of Qatari gas production have triggered a systematic dual supply shock. This crisis removes 20% of the global oil and liquefied natural gas capacity from the market simultaneously. Investors are fleeing to growth assets as energy costs surge and manufacturing hubs like South Korea suffered record losses. Digital infrastructure has also lost its status as a safe harbor. So if you think AI is a safe haven, it's not, because now we've seen drone strikes damage regional data centers. Markets are now pricing in a stagflationary environment defined by restrictive supply and physical vulnerability. The foundational pillars of 2026 bull markets have fractured. You can see the fear and greed index is in fear in the stock market and extreme fear in the cryptocurrency market. The number that matters today is 48%. European gas futures surged over 48%. Surged 48% over 2 sessions after Qatar Energy declared force majeure. The halt of Qatari LNG production, which accounts for 20% of global supply, has triggered a massive energy shock across Europe and Asia. The winners today are Venture Global after its earnings, Outcrusher after its Q4 earnings EPS of 0.06% against a projected loss. We've got Plug Power up 18% after it beat its earnings. Cheniere Energy rallied sharply after escalating Middle East conflict and threats. We've got Diamondback Energy also up. We've got MognoDB cratering 25% after its earnings. We've got Surgery Partners down 21% after its earnings. Again, if you want more information on each of these, or if any of these are things you invest in, you can have the full analysis in the newsletter. Life 30 fell after its earnings. Sea Limited fell after its earnings. Goldfields fell sharply as mining stocks were caught in broad equity sell-off driven by Middle East escalation, with investors rotating into physical gold rather than producers, despite gold rallying to 5,270 per ounce. So we've got mining stocks hit hard today. Mining stocks within gold. We've even got copper mining stocks hit it hard today. Hence some buys on my end. Okay, so let's go into the 5 top stories today. Day 4, Iran hits Riyadh as the war widens. What am I talking about here? Well, we've got a US embassy being hit. The US-Israel campaign against Iran, now in its 4th day, escalated overnight when 2 drones struck the US embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, marking the first direct attack on Saudi capital since the conflict began Saturday. President Trump vowed retaliation but gave no time frame. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has now struck 27 US military bases across the region and has killed 6 American service members and declared the Strait of Hormuz shut, through which 20% of the world oil flows officially closed to shipping. Trump has estimated the campaign will last 4 to 5 weeks. Again, this is the concerning part. The longer this goes on, the less this is short-term volatility in energy prices and more likely to be baked into inflation. And remember, it's not just energy prices that affect inflation. Oil affects everything. It affects manufacturing, it affects shipping, it affects most products, it affects natural gas, it affects fertilizers, food costs, food inflation. The longer this stays going on, this is when we have inflation staying high, and then you start seeing Jerome Powell and federal reserves around, or federal banks around the world, or central banks around the world, potentially raise rates or keep them where they are. Trump has estimated the campaign will last 4 to 5 weeks, and that is quite significant, though he confirmed Iran has requested talks and he is open in principle to negotiations. Markets are pricing in prolonged conflict, not a quick resolution. The S&P 500 fell 1.1% yesterday, and futures opened, and futures point to another 2% drop as today open. At today's open, with Nasdaq 100 futures down 2.5%. We can see them going up a little bit as we speak. Stocks and bonds are falling together, a pattern historically associated with stagflation, where rising prices and slower growth hit simultaneously and leave traditional portfolios with nowhere to hide. Defensive stocks are the standout exception, with South Korea's Hanwha Aerospace surging nearly 20% overnight. Stagflation is the scenario central banks fear the most, because higher interest rates can cool demand but can't pump oil through a closed strait, what makes this worse is the White House can't agree on what winning looks like. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth rules out regime change, while Secretary of State Marco Rubio promises a more punishing next phase. Markets can absorb war. They struggle with wars that have no defined exit, and that's where we are currently. That's one of our top stories today. Again, if you want all these news stories, I'm going to give you the link in the live chat. There is a free plan where you get these news stories, and there's also a free trial for the premium plan, which you get access to the portfolio challenge and all the other benefits. Let me have a quick look and see. I know we are down on the portfolio today. We were actually up yesterday, but these mining stocks have been hit today. Let's see where we're at before. Down 1.3% today. So it's not awful. Still up on the week, the month, the 3 months, and the year to date, which is quite good given the circumstances. The world's most important waterway has gone dark. So this is what we're talking about here, the Strait of Hormuz. And since yesterday, this has actually been officially closed. So a rough 33, this is why it's so important. It's only 33 kilometers wide. Anyway, a roughly 33-kilometer wide channel between Iran and Oman, through which approximately 20% of the world's daily oil supply travels, has effectively shut down for commercial shipping. Iran didn't deploy a naval blockade to achieve this. A combination of an IRGC warning and selective drone strikes on vessels, and a nearly total withdrawal of war risk insurance by major marine associations has been enough. Ship tracking data shows tanker traffic dropped around 70% within the first day of the conflict and has fallen to near zero, with no vessels currently broadcasting location signals in the strait. Brent crude has significantly risen from roughly $73 a barrel before Saturday strikes to over 85 today. Let's have a quick look at where oil prices are right now. We did go as high as $80 today, I think, $77. Now we're at $76, up another 7% today on oil. Remember, every 10% oil goes up, it can have an effect of 0.4% on inflation. So, Brent crude, yep, we've read that. So around 700 vessels are reported idle on either side of the strait. That's 700 vessels on either side of the strait are just stood there. That is just crazy to think about. Overnight, debris from intercepted Iranian drones caused a major fire at UAE's don't know how to pronounce that, oil hub, one of the largest oil storage and trading centers in the Middle East. While Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanru refinery, which processes 550,000 barrels a day, remains offline. We've got oil and gas basically offline right now. Mobic's up 170.
At the Patrick Black tipped $1.99 through Super Chat. Mob up 170%.
Yeah, that is incredible. I know we've got some news coming to you. Martyn is in contact with the CEO of Mobix. Let's see if we can get Mobix. Mobix Labs, there it is. Yeah, up 170. That's incredible. Incredible move by Mobix. What are we on? Market cap. Yeah, the market cap is very small these days, 18 million. Let me go to the daily chart. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it was getting crushed and crushed and crushed, but there is news alongside this. If I can give you a headline of the news, I think it is a Navy order. Mobix receives Navy order for Tomahawk missile components. So yeah, they've got a big sort of contract there that's just come through. We'll give you more news on that throughout the day. But obviously we're breaking that downwards trend. Again, I wouldn't be FOMOing into something like this, but congratulations to anyone who was DCAing into Mobix and still believed in it. It's up 175%. I mean, not a bad time to take some profits. Let me see where we were here. Let's just go have a quick look at the news. I don't understand why they're not streaming. Oh, there it is. There's the news.
Also having, not having to downgrade GDP apart from the first kind of year or two. I think that's relatively reassuring because it suggests there's still some growth. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really big story in the coming years. We've spent a long time talking about net migration being really high, being unexpectedly high, close to 1 million. In the coming years, it could be close.
We've heard enough about that story. Let's go here.
Jabari, advisor to the commander of the Revolutionary Guard, says it will not allow the U.S. access to any oil.
The price of oil's reached $81 and the world's certainly waiting for it to reach at least $200. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. Our heroes in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Navy and the Army will set fire to any ships that try to pass through the strait. We'll also target their oil pipelines in the region, and we will not allow oil exports from this region until we put pressure on the enemy. The Americans have debts of hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars, and they're thirsty for the region's oil. They'll not get a single drop.
Well, as a result of all that turmoil around the Strait of Hormuz, stock markets in Europe are falling for a second day following declines in Asia. South Korean regulators briefly halted trading after the benchmark Kospi index stumbled by as much as 6.4%. European gas prices jumped another 40% on Tuesday to the highest level in 3 years. On Monday, European natural gas prices surged by 50% when Qatar halted production of liquefied natural gas. Qatar's state-owned energy firm blamed Iranian strikes on its facilities. Europe gets roughly 10% of its LNG from Qatar, but some countries like Italy get about a third of their supplies from Qatar. Global gas production is already near capacity, making it difficult to replace lost Qatari volumes in the short term. The disruption triggered the largest LNG price surge since 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. Let's bring in Osama bin Javid in Brussels for more on this. So Europe, Osama, its energy security again in question, but Hungary and the Norwegians have been making waves. What have they said?
Well, this issue of energy is intertwined with European security, as has been the case in the last 4 years after the Russians invaded Ukraine. So this morning we heard from the Norwegians talk about how this crisis in the Middle East could essentially pave the way for the debate again in Europe of whether it really needs to wean itself away from Russian energy. Remember that Russia used to be the major supplier, and now it's been replaced almost entirely, in the case of Germany, by the United States. So this question of energy is an extremely important one for various European states. There has been a stock taking of Europe's oil reserves that is currently underway, that has been called for by the European Union, and the Hungarians have.
You just have to wonder what's at play here in the grand scheme of things, because it's always all about oil and energy. So they cut out Russia. Russia could have been supplying them oil right now to Europe. Oil. This is going to obviously have an effect on consumers. So if we just put the politics aside for a second, of course, should we deal with Russia or not? I mean, that's a whole question. I mean, no one likes Russia and what they're doing, but their oil was very useful, and we cut off those ties with Russia. Then we replaced them with potential ties with the Middle East, but also, as you heard there, Germany getting all their oil now from the United States. If you look at what the United States did with Venezuela, they've got a lot of oil now from Venezuela. Now they could go off the Middle East. And if the Middle East doesn't seem to be able to provide the oil, or it's always going to be subject to regional wars like this, then maybe everyone in Europe will want to get their oil from the United States. And maybe after all, it is all about oil. Who knows? That's just something that is being just popped into my head. Let's put it that way. Okay, let's continue with the news stories. So, around 700 vessels are reported idle in the Strait of either side of the Strait. Overnight debris from interceptor missiles has caused fires in oil hubs. The Saudi refinery, which processes 550,000 barrels a day, is now offline. JP Morgan estimates that a 25-day closure could push Brent up to $120 a barrel. And we are expecting a 25-day closure, because the best estimates we're getting from Trump and people is about 3 or 4 weeks, or at least 3 and 4 weeks. So that is 25 days. That would be oil at $120. That would be a major shock to inflation. That is not what the market's priced in at the moment. And they're forced to cut output. And remember, this is at a time where the Middle East, again, yes, it's giving a lot of oil out, but there's a lot of OPEC countries, whatever it's called, the OPEC countries, yeah, that have a lot of oil supply, that are increasing oil supply. There's the United States, which is got so much oil these days and has started a lot of production. We've got Venezuela now. So there's all of this oil supply in the market, and oil is still going up. I mean, the case for oil over the last few years has been very bearish. People predicting it's going as low as $40 a barrel because of the supply. So even with all this supply, there is now price targets of $120 a barrel. Deutsche Bank putting a $200 a barrel on the table in a full naval blockade scenario involving mines and anti-ship missiles. Those are tail risks, not bear cases, and they frame what's possible if this drags on. I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on this. In the chat, tell me what your thoughts are on all this the oil situation. Firstly, tell me where you think it's going. $100 a barrel, $90 a barrel. Have we already topped out? $200 a barrel. What do you think about the situation in terms of energy security? Should we be dealing with Russia and Europe to have some energy security? Is this all about oil with the United States? And has this been a plan in place since the beginning of Trump's term? Was it about getting Venezuela's oil to get some more security and then go after the Middle East and then replace anyone who's dealing with the Middle East oil with the United States? I don't know, throw some ideas in the chat and then I'll come back to it. Brent at $85 reflects traders betting on a short war, not a long one. Again, these are my thoughts. You get these on every story every day. That assumption is doing enormous work. JP Morgan's model puts Brent around $120 after 25 days of closure. OPEC holds 33.5 million barrels per day of spare capacity, but spare capacity means nothing if the exit route is closed. So we are looking at an $85 barrel potentially bet if we are having a short war. If it's a long war, it could be 120 days, and a long war could mean 4 weeks, 3 weeks. Qatar pulls the plug on 20% of the gas supply, so it's not just oil now. Here we're talking about LNG, the natural gas. So Qatar Energy, the state-owned company responsible for roughly 20% of global liquefied natural gas supply, it announced a complete halt of its production yesterday after Iranian drone strikes damaged 2 of its key facilities, Ras Laffin Industrial City and the world's largest LNG export complex, and the Martyn Industrial City. The company declared force majeure, a legal clause that releases a supplier from its contractual delivery obligations when events outside its control, such as acts of war, make fulfillment impossible. Qatar shipped approximately 81 million metric tons of LNG in 2025, supplying long-term contracts to Japan, South Korea, China, and India that are foundational to those nations' energy security. Again, we saw the South Korean market crash on open, and there were circuit breakers in place. It was one of the worst drops in history on that market. Today, Qatar Energy expanded the shutdown beyond gas. Urea used in fertilizers, polymers, methanol, and aluminium are also now offline, extending the supply shock from energy markets into agriculture and industrial supply chains. Remember, we just look at the surface level oil, it's just petrol for the car. It's not. We're looking at natural gas, we're looking at plastics, we're looking at shipment, we're looking at the food market, we're looking at methanol, aluminium. All of these things that will cause inflation because whatever supply there is, it's going to be more expensive. So European gas futures have surged as much as 48% over the past 2 sessions to a 3-year high. 48% increase in natural gas prices, while the Asian liquid LNG market benchmark jumped roughly 39% after the initial announcement. The disruption is compounded by the Strait of Hormuz closure. Even if Qatar could restart production tomorrow, the exit route for its tankers is effectively shut. The EU's gas coordination group will hold an emergency meeting tomorrow to assess supply impacts. The energy headlines are dominating. Again, these are my thoughts. If you get the newsletter, which I'm going to give you in the live chat, you can get it. There's a free trial. There's a free plan. You get all these stories for free. You get my thoughts under each story as well. So the energy headlines are dominating, but Qatar's downstream halt may be the sleeper shock. Urea is the primary input for nitrogen fertilizers. Where urea supply tightens, food production cost rises. That means that the conflict could be pushing grocery prices higher months after any ceasefire, long after the gas headline fades. South Korea's market just had its worst day since 2024. South Korea's benchmark Kospi index crashed 7.24% today. Its steepest. Okay, the S&P 500 is accelerating its losses now. We are getting a bit of a correction on the S&P 500. Bitcoin holding steady, which is sort of down. Anyway, massive crash on the South Korean's Kospi index, going down as 7.24% today. Its steepest single-day drop since the yen carry trade unwind triggered an 8.77% collapse late August 2024. The index closed at 5,791, a fall of 452 points in absolute terms, the largest point drop ever recorded on the index. The market has been closed yesterday for public holiday, meaning all of its Monday global sell-off landed in a single session. Samsung Electrics fell 10%, crashing back below its 200,001 level. It had only broken above last week. SK Hynix, the world's leading producer in high bandwidth memory chips used inside NVIDIA's AI systems, that dropped 11%. The two companies lost a combined $170 billion in market capitalization in a single day. South Korean imports approximately 70 to 80% of its oil through the Strait of Hormuz, making it one of the most directly exposed major economies to prolonged closure. Foreign investors sold a net of 5.17 trillion won, roughly $3.7 billion today alone, extending a 9 consecutive session selling streak. Try and say that fast, 10 times fast. 9 consecutive nine consecutive session selling streak. The country's financial fear gauge, the volatility index of the Kospi, surged to 62.97, breaching the 60 level for the first time in history. South Korea isn't alone. Japan's Nikkei fell 3% today for the same structural reason, and Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Australia all closed lower. The Asian Pacific bull run of 2026 was built on cheap energy and AI momentum. Today, one of those pillars cracked, and you know which one. My thoughts on this. South Korea is the sharpest expression of a broader regional problem. Japan's Nikkei fell 3% today for the same reason. Both companies import the vast majority of their oil through a strait that is now effectively closed. Taiwan and Australia are down too. The Asian Pacific Great Bull Run of 2023 was built on... I've made a mistake in the news there. So no worries. I mean, it's not a major mistake. One of these pillars has just cracked. My direct thought wasn't put in. I just accidentally copied that part. Anyway, it's still relevant. So let's continue. US moves. This is a direct... Oh, let's look at the markets quickly because they are coming down fast now. Let's go back to the markets. Let's see if there's any news coming out right now as we speak.
Is to be used for attacks on Iran. But if
US
they were
president
to
says too late
allow
for
the
talks
Americans
with
to
Iran.
do that, then that would
no more diplomacy.
Provide even greater edge to the Americans and the Israelis. That, though, is also unlikely because
the US president says it's too late for talks with Iran after claiming Tehran wanted to open negotiations. The market doesn't like it.
So Wolfgang made an interesting point about reports that Iranian drone operations are not fully centralized. What do you know about the current state of command and control in Iran following the killing of the supreme leader? How in control are they of the military?
I think one
structure?
of the first hints about what is the current situation of the IRGC is what has happened 2 days ago. So an energy facility in Oman came under attack. You know, it was quite surprising because Oman has been the main mediator since decades, even before the Islamic Revolution. Whenever Iran is mediating or having a diplomatic problem with the world, so Oman will be there. And so that has been asked to the Iranian foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, and he said that, well, it was not a central decision, meaning it was a mistake. And he said that there has been some isolated units which were conducting the pre-planned action. So I'm not sure of that. So IRGC is simply saying that we have adopted a strategy of decentralization because in the last war, during the 12 days, due to over-centralization, it was extremely difficult the command change to work and the operations to work smooth. And in some cases, when particularly the communications are interrupted, so they could not act. But based on the preparations, so some local remote units have been authorized that based on their own risk assessment, they can develop the strategies. So that is very well possible. However, it's impossible to verify this because in many cases what we are seeing is that despite again and again being attacked, despite all the warnings since October 7th onward, Iran has always been caught off guard. So, and that is the main question, when are you going to be ready? So, is it a part of the strategy?
Let me put that on pause. Yeah, we are getting some news coming into us, and the markets aren't liking it. We were getting a rally into the open, but that rally has sold off. Let me show you the markets right here. So we are looking at the S&P 500 now down 1.7%. We tried to have, let me get rid of both those charts. We tried to have a rally on the S&P 500 before the market opened, a rally that there was about the 0.76% rally, but now we are down again. And if you look at the rest of the market as well, Bitcoin is down as well. XRP is down at 134, down 3% now today. The FTSE is staying low, down 2.8% today. Gold is getting hit. Ethereum's getting hit. Silver is getting hit, down 8% today. Oil is staying strong at $76. Yes, Nick Jones. I'm very wary of those posts. Nick Jones just said you. Well, firstly, there's rumors of a nuclear test in Iran after a 4.3 earthquake, but that is very, very dubiously speculating. I don't think that is true. I think we've got reports from seismic areas. Reports that was incorrect reporting. Anyway, I'm trying to find that post that you saw. This one here. The Bank of Japan will experiment with blockchain to settle deposits held by financial institutions as the central bank, enabling 24/7 instant settlement and reducing gridlock risk in stress events. Yes. I want to see if we get any more information about this. This is not gonna. They're not gonna directly cite XRP. I'm sure everyone will come out today and say, "Look, this is the domino theory. Japan is doing it." If they're going to use anything, they'll be using potential stablecoin rails. So let's have a I mean, if it's XRP, that's great. So we'll keep an eye on this story. But if it was XRP, the XRP's price would be much, much higher right now. Again, that's why I scrolled past it, because I want to do the research and bring it to people. I don't want to just make false claims. Let me go to your the live chat, to your questions for a second, and then I'm going to keep an eye on the market. Market's opening shortly, and we'll keep an eye on the news, see if Trump comes out and speaks. If you have just tuned in, can everyone make sure you hit the like button? If you are enjoying the morning newsletter as well, the morning show, you can get the morning newsletter for free. I mean, you can literally get it for free. If you want all the premium features, of course, if you want to see what I'm buying this week, if you want to see the portfolio challenge, if you want to see the training course, the financial insights app, if you want to see the deep dives, if you want to see the charts of the day, then there is a premium plan. Anyway, let's continue, and you can get a free trial for that. Trump said all Biden did was make war, then Trump made a bigger one than Biden. I know a lot of Trump or Republicans or Trump fans are not happy with this. He ran on the idea of no wars, and here we are. Sensage, short Bitcoin today, short XRP, says Lance. Again, I don't give financial advice. It might be the market likes to hurt both sides. Remember, yesterday we got a 5% pump on Bitcoin. The reason we got a 5% pump wasn't because anything bullish was occurring. It's just because there was a lot of people that were short, and the market wanted to punish both sides, and it punished the shorts. Be careful of a rally today and then a reverse when Nasdaq gets around 24,691. Thank you for that. Let me see. Did anyone answer the Tomahawk deal from Mobix? Yes. Let me see if anyone answered the oil question. Currently, Polymarket odds say very long war. The Polymarket prediction market will Iran regime fall by June 30th shows a 37.5% probability. Yes. Yeah, John Smith, that's not because you can't directly correlate those two together. To have a regime change is unlikely, as the Polymarket odds suggest, less than 50%. That doesn't mean a war is going to continue until they get a regime change. That is not the objective of the war. It is what they've said will be a nice outcome if the Iranian people rise up and do it, but that hasn't been the objective. The objective of the war isn't. You can't look at that odd and say the odds of a regime change by June the 30th is 37% probability, and then take away that means that they're going to be at war for over until past June of 30th, because their objective isn't regime change. So you can't use that prediction market odds to see how long the war will end. I'm sure there is a Polymarket prediction on how long is the war gonna take. Well, I'm sure there's ceasefire odds. Let's look. It will probably come under ceasefire. This is the way you look at it. US ex Iran ceasefire by. See how different the odds are. Yours, June the 30th, is 37.5% probability. If you're looking at the ceasefire, it's 79% probability. So again, there you go. So yeah, it's not looking like any ceasefire by next week. We are looking at the odds will be in the favour somewhere between March and April. It's what the market's suggesting is somewhere between March and April we'll get a ceasefire. Again, it could definitely go on longer, but that's currently where the odds are, is between end of March and end of April. So some point in April. Probably early mid-April is what the market is suggesting. Anyway, that's how you look at the odds. Don't accidentally get things mixed up. I don't see Mobix up that much. No, Bitcoin's Craig. Have a look at pre-market numbers. Crypto coins, it is up 130%. Talks absolute. Norway also have oil. I mean, UK has oil. I just don't know why they don't like to go and drill some oil out. Everybody that's not woke loves Russia, says Crypto Coins Elite. Bitcoin's Craig, and that was February the 14th. Beautiful Mobix. Amazing to me that 20% of oil being cut off would have that much of an impact. Yeah, I mean, oil runs the world. I think there's another grease it scenario. There's plenty of oil now. Just like every other assets, humans are using any excuse to take advantage and be greedy. It's going to $300. If it's going to $300 a barrel, oh my God, the world economy would be in absolute turmoil. John Smith, he said it again. John Smith, that's not how you see if it's going to be a very long war. You're making the assumption that the war ends when the regime changes. No one said the war ends when the regime changes. And as I've just proven to you, by the 30th of June, the real odds of a war ending, or at least a ceasefire, which you can say is a war ending, is 79%. Yours is saying 37.5% because that's pricing in a regime change. Anyway, let's continue with our coverage of today. Martyn will be live in the next few minutes. Let me just check. Okay, so actually I'll be redirected to the extra channel. Martyn is having some technical issues, so he will be back. I think he'll be back live in about 20 minutes, so stay with us. More drama. Trump didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe Trump got it now. More drama for an already. Let me just go to the live chat. What's this? Honestly, I'd rather no countries have nuclear capabilities. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be an amazing world? We're in a world now that every country wants nuclear capabilities, because if they don't have nuclear capabilities, they can get invaded. So yeah, it's an awful situation. It's a terrible loop. Trump didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe Trump got it now. Why would Trump get it now? What, after starting a war? Oh God. More drama for an already. Can John Smith? Can he get back to me? I just want to help you out, and hopefully you've understood what I've said to you. More drama for an already planned and knowing coming event. They have been saying this for many years. They wanted in this area and were taking over it. Where is gone to market? Josh, I have no idea what you're saying. Only thing in my portfolio is pump swap. Love it, Chris B. Even at 150 would be enough to hit the world. Yeah, 100. I mean, it's hitting the world today. It's not even about $200, $300, and how we're going to affect them. We're getting hit. Yeah, the European markets. I mean, just see what happened to the Asian markets. We're being hit at $76 oil. We're going to get hit at $80, $90, $100, $100. I mean, $100 would really start having some major ramifications. $120 will be awful. $150 will be crazy. $200 will be unimaginable. $300 will be like the end of the world on oil prices. So yeah, the effects, every 10% we go up on oil, if it stays there, that is what 0.4% added to inflation. That's crazy numbers. So don't underestimate this, and it's all about how long does it go on for. If you're a believer that this is going to be a short, quick war, then the Fed will look past this, and most economies will look past this, like it did with the 12-day war 8 months ago. If you think this is going to go on, and it's a bigger issue than last time, and it's going to go on for more than 3 weeks, then you need to be preparing for it in a bigger capacity. If you think this is going to go on for 2 months, then you should be very bearish on the market. He made peace in 7 countries and didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm going to have it. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows the arguments against why Trump didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, he started a war today, 4 days ago. Or he started a war. I mean, I don't really know what to say. I'm not even here to be a fan or a fanboy of Trump or be against Trump. I'm sure many people can understand why the Nobel Peace Prize is a bit of a joke. 9 countries is a good idea to I mean, look around the world. There's wars everywhere. There's Israel and Lebanon. There's the Middle East. There is Pakistan and Afghanistan. There is Sudan. There is, I mean, and most of these wars have started since Trump came into office. So, I mean, yes, sorted all wars, put on wars. I mean, there's arguments why he should get the Nobel Peace Prize and arguments why he shouldn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So, anyway, I think most people joke around that anyway, so I'm not going to take that too seriously. Let's continue with our story about NVIDIA as well. He didn't start the war. Read your history, says Lance Strength. Yeah, sorry. Israel started the war. I mean, Marco Rubio and they were talking outside. Was it Senate yesterday? Yeah, they said it was Israel. They said Israel was going to go in to start the war, and we wanted to support them. So yeah, sorry. Maybe the United States didn't start the war. Israel started the war, and then the United States got involved. That's what was it? Marco Rubio, the Speaker of the House, was saying yesterday. Let's continue on to our next story. US moves to cap NVIDIA chip sales to China at 75,000 units per customer. A story here for NVIDIA. The Trump administration, finally, one story which is not about the war. I had to do a lot of war stories today because that is literally 90% of the news, and that's the most important thing right now. But there wasn't an NVIDIA story, so I did want to include it, and that's why we did 6 stories today, not just 5. The Trump administration is reportedly ordering, and I'll put the chart back on the screen as well. The Trump administration is reportedly considered a per consumer limit of 75,000 units. Let me just go to comments. All over the world, he is Secretary of State. Marco Rubio, yeah. Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. Yeah, I know. And Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State, and also the House Speaker also backed up what they were saying yesterday, which was Israel started this war and they wanted to get involved so that they can protect the interests, including US bases. So I apologize. Maybe I said the US started the war. Maybe I should have said Israel started the war. Okay, let me continue. The Trump administration is reportedly considering a per customer limit of 75,000 units on exports of NVIDIA's H200 artificial intelligence chip to China, with advanced micro devices AMD comparable M1325 chip counting towards the same cap. The ceiling would dramatically constrain what China's largest technology companies can actually purchase. Alibaba and ByteDance, which have privately indicated they want to buy more than 150,000 units, more than double the proposed limit. A separate national export ceiling, one of around 1 million units for China as a whole, remains in place. NVIDIA and AMD both slipped in after hours trading on the news. The H200 is NVIDIA's previous generation chip, one step behind its current Blackwell line, but still more powerful than anything Huawei can produce domestically. Trump approved H200 sales to China in December 2025 after years of export restrictions. A deal NVIDIA publicly championed. National security officers have since laid on additional restrictions that NVIDIA has criticized as undermining the president's original intent. A planned Trump-Xi meeting in the coming weeks has been seen as the moment the term would be finalized. The per customer cap, if confirmed, would limit Chinese tech giants to building data centers of roughly 100 megawatt scale, far short of the gigawatt scale facilities that are being constructed in the United States, and gives Huawei more room to develop its domestic chip ecosystem without American competition. NVIDIA is being hit from two directions at once. Its Gulf data center customers are dealing with damaged infrastructure and a conflict showing no signs of a quick resolution. Now its China opportunity, estimated internally at 50 billion a year, is being capped before it ever materializes. The world's most valuable chip company suddenly has fewer places to sell. And the next story is also drones hitting data centers in the I think it's United Arab Emirates, a first in modern warfare. Best thing to invest in right now is water. Water's going to be, more monkey business. You are spot on. Water is so important. We are doing a research piece on water. Fresh water supplies are diminishing. Water cooling, everything to do with water. Water is one of the most scarce assets, believe it or not. Yes, we've got a lot of sea, but desalination plants are very expensive for now anyway. We will be doing a full water research report for the Portfolio Challenge, so more monkey business. If you do want to see that, if you sign up to newsletter, you can, when that publication comes out, you can see exactly which stocks I identify and where I'll be putting my money. Drone hits Amazon data centers, a first in modern warfare. Amazon Web Services, the cloud computing division of Amazon and one of its world's largest providers of internet infrastructure, has confirmed that 3 of its data centers in the Middle East were damaged by drone strikes tied to Iran conflict. 2 facilities in the United Arab Emirates were directly struck, while a third in Bahrain suffered damage when a drone impacted close to the building. Amazon Web Services acknowledged the strikes caused by structural damage, disrupted power delivery, and in some cases required fire suppression that led to additional water damage beyond initial impact. 2 of the 3 UAE availability zones, the independent data hubs Amazon Web Services uses to provide backup redundancy, remain significantly impaired as of this morning. Amazon Web Services was designed to withstand the failure of a single availability zone at a time. Losing 2 simultaneously overwhelms that redundancy entirely. 12 or more core Amazon Web Services reported elevated error rates, and several major UAE banks, including Emirates NBD and Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, reported temporary outages to mobile apps and phone services. Amazon Web Services has formally advise customers with workloads in the region to back up data immediately and consider migration to servers outside the Middle East. The wider investment implication is significant. Microsoft has committed $15 billion to UAE technology infrastructure through 2029, and Amazon, Google, and others have comparably large footprints in the Gulf. The question those companies are now facing is whether data centers are worth billions can be rendered inoperable by drone costing a fraction of that. Investors rotating into tech to escape inflation shock just discovered tech isn't a safe haven either. Cloud infrastructure, AI data centers, digital banking, none of it is isolated when physical buildings can be hit with a $10,000 drone. The conflict is rewriting which sector counts as defensive. So those are our top stories today. We do have the chart of the day there. We will be putting out some more newsletters on Portfolio Challenge the app that's coming out, and then the training course hopefully in the next weekend. So all of that is to come. A quick look at the markets. The S&P 500 down 2%. Again, it's going to be volatile. I've given you my prediction on the year. That's why I'm sat in defensive, mostly sat in cash, ready to take advantage of this. But I'm not even getting excited yet. I want the markets to go down another, and whether it's the war, whether it's inflation, whether it's recession, whether it's AI sector cracks, carry trade unwinds. There is a lot this year that can go and present opportunity. I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as a good thing. Anyway, the S&P 500, the first level, which would be interesting, is another 1% down, but not interesting enough for me to maybe to ladder in, but not really. It will be when we come back into this parallel channel. So about another 2.5%, then 5%, then 10% correction on the S&P 500. Let's go to some of these individual stocks, and then we'll be ending today's show. What's everything doing in the pre-market? Apple is not doing too badly, down only 0.5%. Dollar Tree down 0.65%. Berkshire Hathaway down 0.68%. Coca-Cola down 0.71%. AMC down 0.8%. McDonald's down 1%. So those stocks are holding up the best right now, really. Let's see what's holding up not a little bit better. Disney down 1.2%. J&J down 1.24%. Pfizer down 1.4%. Wrap Technologies, I'm going to maybe... no, it's fine. Wrap Technologies down 1.71%, GME down 1.7%, Meta down 1.7%, Lyft down 1.8%, Microsoft down 1.9%, Salesforce down 2%, Rivian down 2%. Okay, now we're going on to some things that affected a bit more than the general market. These are things that are down over 2%. Rivian down 2%, Netflix down 2.07%, Emerson Electric Company down 2.3% as well. Klarna down 2.34%. Palantir down 2.38%. Destiny Tech 100 down 2.35%. Amazon down 2.5%. Tesla down 2.5%. Now we're going to things that are down over 2.5%. These are really underperforming the market now. SBC down 2.7%. Tilray down 2.8%. iBit down 2.9%. Fiverr down 2.8%. Nvidia is down 2.85%. I think it was down more earlier. Down nearly 3% today. Mobix Labs up 163%. Snapchat down. Okay, this is things that are down now 3%. This is really underperforming the market. 3% Snapchat. Deck Outdoor Corporation down 3.07%. Google down 3. This is entering a value zone on Google. This is my first level of support. $296. We're currently literally at the first level of support. The next one after that would be another potential 13 to 15% down on Google. So I might start laddering in, but also leaving cash on the side for potentially another 15% move towards the downside. And if we do get a proper correction, a proper recession, again, not the worst case scenario, but still a bad scenario, then I am looking at potentially 30% down on Google as well, which I will be pretty much all in at that point. SMC, again, not pretty unlikely for it to go down 30%, pretty likely for it to go down another 10%, however. So I'll be keeping an eye on that and laddering in. SMCI down 3.5%, Enphase down 3.4%, MicroStrategy down 3.74%, PayPal down 3.5%, Vertical Aerospace down 3.6% today. Oh God, ARK Invest down 4%, AMD down 4%, Rocket Lab down 4%. This is getting worse and worse. Coinbase getting down over 4%, Alibaba down 4.5%, Joby down 4.5%. Vivo Power down 4.2%, Circle down 4.3%, SoundHound AI another down day, down 5%, TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor down 5%, Archer down 5.5%, Robinhood down 5.5%, Luna down 5.7%. Diesel said, better buy right now, Google or Nvidia. I don't give financial advice, and you would have to, like the way I do stocks, I don't just pick them randomly. I would look at, again, some stocks are fine because it's like they're not going anywhere, but the way I do my stock picking, I would look at a sector, then I'd compare the numbers within the sector, and then I would look at the chart. But all I can do now is just have a quick look at the chart. Nvidia is at 177, the support's at 172. Google or Nvidia. Nvidia's got the better. I don't know. Probably Nvidia. I would say Nvidia is better than Google right now. Let me go to Google. So Nvidia's at 177. It's in an upwards trend. It's been consolidating for a while. The downside, I mean, let's look at the downside potential as well. The downside on Nvidia, if it breaks support, then we're looking at 12%, and then worst case, we're looking at maybe it won't worse. So yeah, the first level will be about 30% down. Worst case, 44% down. If we go to Google, just compare some numbers. I'm just doing some quick thoughts in my head. You're at support. Next level is 16% down. Worst is 47. They're pretty similar, but I would say Nvidia because it's at least consolidated, and Google's just gone up in a straight line. So yeah, I would say Nvidia. Diesel radar, my answer would be Nvidia. So glad didn't get my Archie yesterday. Waiting more, says human being Liz. Nice one, Sensei, says more monkey. No worries. Okay. Let's have a final look at the main markets. Oil is now up 9%. We're getting a surge on oil and a crash on the markets. Oil now breaking $77. I've got some Polymarket odds going on right now. Let me check my Polymarket account. Must be up on that. There was a few things I did on Polymarket. Again, I don't like the gambling markets, but the Polymarket is essentially just futures trading. So I think I had a lot on oil above to hit $80 this month, then to hit $90 this month, $100 this month, because I think the odds were mispriced when it was down at $71. That's why I said the level of support is at $71. I didn't really want to open a long position on oil, so I decided to go down the Polymarket route. Those were printing. They must be printing right now a lot of money on Polymarket. What else did I do on Polymarket? I need to go check it, but it's difficult to access Polymarket in the UK. Anyway, let's continue. Well, for today, Nvidia and Google, they asked. Thanks, Google. Hearing huge 2027 for Google because of AI independence. Yeah, I think Google's a great stock. It just could be a very choppy year for Google, and it can be very, very volatile. I mean, we can go down 40% on Google. We can go 40% down on any stock. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Google, and it's already, how much is it already down now? Google's already down 15%. The next target, the main target will be around 245. So that's 27. And then if we want to fill that gap, then it's 40%. And that's just going back to where we were in September of 2025. So if we do have a recession, if we do have AI cracks, if we do have a carry trade unwind, can we go down 40% on a stock from high to low? Yes. Have we seen Google go down 40% before, even when it hasn't been overbought? Yes. In the 2022 bull market, it went down 50%. In COVID, it went down 50%. In January of 2025, when everyone was still very bullish on AI, it went down 30%. So yeah, we can go lower, and I am looking for opportunities. I am going to start deploying more and more cash throughout this. Again, I'm going to still be more than 50% out of the market. We've got US bonds now heading up as well, which is not good. Yields are pushing higher amid inflation fears. Oh yeah, I did a Polymarket on inflation and recession. Got something in my eye. I apologize. Again, for most people, buy the market, buy when it's lower, don't over leverage. Put a certain amount of your portfolio to your emergency fund, have that sorted, pay off your higher interest rate credit card debts, and then invest in a diversified portfolio with a world ETF, with the S&P 500 ETF, with gold, silver. That's pretty much all you really need, depending on what your risk tolerance is and stuff. And then just put money into it, and you'll be fine. Whether it's a war, whether it's inflation, and you'll be fine. If for the ones that want to have a bit of fun, then don't do it with your whole portfolio. Do it with 10%, 20% of your portfolio, and then day trade that. Because remember, 99% of day traders lose money, or 96% of day traders lose money. So what makes you any different? And therefore, if you want to do that, do it with 20% of your portfolio and don't day trade, maybe swing trade, or maybe understand the markets, look at the news, control your emotions. Each of them goes into it. 96% of day traders lose money. Probably 80% of swing traders lose money. But once you remove your emotion, then that brings if you remove emotion, then I think that puts you into the 55% of swing traders lose money. Then you use charts, that might bring you down to 49% of day traders lose money. Then the odds are in your favor. And that's why you'd want to do it with a smaller part of your portfolio. Anyway, let me continue. So for most people, buy, hold world ETFs, diversified portfolios will be fine. Other people don't put most of your portfolio in single assets. Have it diversified. Play with 20% of your portfolio, 10% of your portfolio, 5% of your portfolio. Especially times like this, because everyone's going to get very emotional. Can you look at JEPT? Let's have a quick look. JEPI. RB Fun Time says JEPI. JP Morgan Equity Premium Income. 8% dividend yield. Yeah, I think we looked at this previously once upon a time. It's great. Pretty steady. 8% yields. It's pretty fine. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, do you need an income? I don't know enough about these products. I haven't looked at the prospectus. I don't know much about the product. There's no real point looking at the chart. Apart from the fact when I look at the chart, I go, oh, it can be pretty volatile. All you're getting is 8%. There is bonds out. There is like, I mean, do you want 4% with very, very safe treasury bills? Or do you want to get that 4% extra and then be exposed to potential 8% swings to downside? I don't really know. I don't know enough about the product. RB, it would be one that you would have to research. I'd suggest using, you're looking at the prospectus, throwing that prospectus into some AI models and asking the questions you have, because it's less about the chart and more about understanding the product. I don't have, I would imagine it's just a bunch of bonds that are paying out 8%. And they're taking 0.35% in fees. The link to the website doesn't work. Brilliant. Oh, it's down 1.15% because people are more likely to default on their bonds. Just trying to see. Yeah, you can see a lot of information on their website.
Derivative income strategies, JEPI and JEPQ. We're going to take a closer look today at both JEPI and JEPQ. We're going to break down recent performance and why these strategies stand out.
I would suggest going and watch that on their website. I just typed in the ETF name. Seeks to deliver monthly distribution income and the equity market exposure with less volatility. Experienced portfolio managers leveraging a time-tested process with decades of providing investing expertise in equities. I mean, at the end of the day, these products are made to make their money, and they're playing around with options and stuff to do this. It's probably the S&P 500 has probably outperformed them. Well, it has. But, I mean, it's an interesting product. It certainly is. I mean, it's certainly not the worst thing I've seen. It's very interesting. Defensive equity portfolio employs time tested. Yeah, I mean, I would even be interested in something like this, to be honest. But I'm not too desperate for those gains at the moment. I am a bit more of a high-risk investor, in all honesty. I bought 1K of heating oil yesterday, about to take the profits. What do you mean? Are you about to turn it on? Can you look at Jeffrey? Thoughts on USOY oil ETF? US, again, for the ETFs, it's more important to look at the actual prospectus and what's inside them. Oh, but this has been crushed, hasn't it? What the hell is this? What has gone on to this? Oh, it's a 75% dividend yield. That's why it just goes down. What the hell? Yeah, I wouldn't know. I mean, the chart would mean nothing in this instance apart from just a shock factor. So it provides 75% dividend yield. Guys, these ETFs, some of these ETFs are just so interesting, but they're also all there. Just look, the expense ratio is 1%. They're all just there to benefit the provider. Distribution rate 52%, weekly distribution. Seeks income in oil with options. Again, it's all these underlying options. USOY is an actively managed ETF that seeks income while maintaining the opportunity for indirect exposure to the shares of United States Oil Fund. Subject to USOY aims to generate. Is this a government thing? USOY aims to generate additional income from its options investments. No, it can't be. When USO's share price rises in value. Oh, so it's all about USO. USO being United States Oil Fund. Right, it's just playing around with United States Oil Fund. I mean, this is certainly a bit more risky. Again, too complicated to try and unravel right here on a show. I would suggest doing more research on that. It wouldn't be something for me anyway. And you can't do anything with a chart because the dividend yield's 50 to 70%. Sensor, do you think silver will recover? I think silver will recover, but I don't think it's going to go back to its all-time highs. I think gold will go to all-time highs. I think silver will go back to maybe $100, maybe double top at $120. But I think silver will recover, but just not be for anything crazy this year. I think it's topped out. But that doesn't mean it can't have a secondary rally. What is your resistance for Nvidia and Google? Resistance for Nvidia and Google. NVDA, my resistance for Nvidia and Google. Well, Nvidia is in a parallel channel, just a very straight parallel channel, just a sideways accumulation. So the support was 172, the heart line's 183, and the resistance is about 194. You double that up with the psychological resistance at 200, and that's your zone there, 194 to 200. Then it'll be 212, and then 233. For Google, the resistance. Google. Google. God, I don't really have resistance right now because our target's $300 and we're above it. So obviously the resistance would be that high over there at 330 and 350. Yeah, that's what I'd say. 330, 350 for Google. Only price action fundamentals. Again, there might be a trend towards the upside. Not really a defined one. Only price action fundamentals. What about SSL? SSL. You're not a member, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. What is this? Is it even worth looking at? Small market cap, 5 billion. SSL. It looks like the trend has changed. It's on an uptrend, really. So that's good to see. I can't spend time on it, Lucio, because we're looking at members' comments at the moment. What are some good stocks to look at with today's dip, says CJ Tube? The mining industry has been hit hard. Silver's down. Some of these companies are not going anywhere, like Nvidia, Google, they're down. But again, we can go lower, but it's not a bad time to DCA. Let's have a look. Yeah, BHP's out. Yeah, I mean, some of these copper ETFs are pretty good to look at. We go. Would I be looking at Robinhood for a bounce, maybe, but not really as a long-term position at this point? I'd like to see it much, much lower. I'm looking at what's dropped the most today. SoundHound down 5%. Not too attractive. Alibaba, maybe that's a bit more attractive. That's in an uptrend now. Down 5% this morning. Circle, that's reversed this trend. We'll probably see that continue higher, but that's already been up a lot. Yeah, I would say that the miners are down a lot, and then some of any of the big names that are on discount as well. Like what's Microsoft at today? MSTR. No, MSFD. Yeah, that's been hit hard. Something like Microsoft. I don't know. The big names that are down a lot, plus that's the mining industry. Oh, I haven't even been showing you what I've been looking at. I've just gone through all the charts. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can still hear me. 8 minutes for the open, 2 minutes for the open. Oh, okay. I guess we're going to be live for the open then. Did you get enough nappy, Sensei? My new favorite word, nappies. Yes, Diesel Raider, nappies, nappies, nappies. Not diapers, nappies. Yes, we've done. We did a big order yesterday. Big order for everything for the nursery. So we got the nappies, we got a changing bed thing, we got the side bed, we got cream and wipes and stuff. I don't know what else do we get. Let's have a look at the Amazon order. Oh, we got some toys. What else do we get? Oh, why can't I see my orders? Oh, we got some baby laundry detergent, baby safe stain remover, water wipes. Where is the order there? Flannels. Yeah, all sorts. Thank you, Diesel Raider. I'll dive deeper in. Brilliant. RB. Trading 212, heating oil has gone up over 100%, says C-Marty. Wow, wow, wow. I need nappies, lol, says the Nutella. We are close to market open, so let's go over to the market. Here we go. The bell's just gone.
The year is
Markets are open. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit it now.
Harmony, until one day a young man catches
Let's
fire.
go through the markets.
This is Phoenix.
Guys, if you haven't hit the like button, please can you hit it now? It only takes... Oh, God, what's going on there? It only takes 1 second. Let me see if I can fix this. Why has this gone weird? Don't worry. Can't get my heat mat up. It's fine. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please do hit the like button. The market's just open. Let's cover the bell.
Like a phoenix, you burst in a fire, burn. A thirst and desire, you transform right up in a flash. You spread your wings.
What do we have going on? Well, everything is now pumping. The S&P 500 is pumping on the open. Obviously, it's down 1.5%, but we've just got a small pump. Are we going to get a pump to dump? Probably. Let's see. We've got a big gap on the S&P 500 today. Mobix up 167%. Netflix up on the day, Lyft up on the day, NASDAQ has just opened and it's heading higher. PayPal flat, Coca-Cola down 0.56%, Meta down 0.34%, Microsoft down 0.21%, Salesforce just turned green, Berkshire Hathaway down 1%. Let me turn this up a little bit. J&J down 1.2%. McDonald's down 1.6%, Wrap Technologies down 3%, S&P 500 down 1.5%. Is it moving up? It is moving up as we speak. Disney down 1%, S&P 500 down 1.5%, Nvidia down 2%, just had a big spike towards the upside. Klarna down 1.5%, AMC down 1.75%, Dollar Tree down 2%, GME down 0.83%, Fiverr down 2%. Rivian down 1.2%, Tilray down 1%, Amazon down 2% today, SBC down 2%, Luna down 3%, Tesla down 2%, Snapchat down 2%, Russell 2000 heading lower, down nearly 3% now. iBit down 2.8%. SoundHound down 3%, Vertical Aerospace down over 3%, SMCI down 3.5%. Google Google is down 2.45%, moving higher. Joby down 4%, 4.2%. MicroStrategy down 4%. Archer is crashing, down 8% today. ARK Invest down 3.8%. Coinbase down 4%. Rocket Lab down 5%. Decker's Outdoor Corporation down 5%. Circle down 5%. Enphase down 4%. Alibaba down 5%. Robinhood down 4.5%. Taiwan semiconductors down 5%. That looks interesting. Let's have a look at the portfolio. It's got to be red. Let's have a look. It's a bad day for my portfolio. Let me give you the figures. Can everyone make sure you've smashed that like button? That was the morning bell. Oh, no one liked the music. I apologize. Sorry guys, I haven't covered an open bell in a while. I apologize for the music. Anyway, I'm sure you heard me a little bit. We went through the stocks there. The biggest winners is Mobix up 170%, Netflix, GME, Meta, Coca-Cola all down less than 1%. Then we've got Apple, J&J, McDonald's, AMC, Disney, Snapchat, SBC, the S&P 500, Tilray, Dollar Tree, Amazon, all between 1 and 2% down. Then we've got between 2 and 4%, 2 and 3% Tesla, SoundHound, Google, Vertical Aerospace, SMCI, iBit, Joby, MicroStrategy down 4%. Anything over 4%, MicroStrategy, Coinbase, Enphase, Alibaba, Hood, and Archer down 8%, the biggest loser. So I'm just looking at my portfolio now here on, I can show it there. I don't know if it's mirrored for you guys. Can you guys see the actual figure or is it mirrored? Let me know. We are down 1% today. 1% on the portfolio. So that means this week we are actually now red. On the week, we're down 0.3%. But this doesn't include the oil position I did on the poly market, which is printing some cash. So again, this is just the portfolio challenge, which is a part of the portfolio, which is a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, we're down 1% on the day on the market open, still up on the year to date, over year to date 2.2%. So that's still good considering we do have too much of an exposure to the mining industry because we haven't fully padded out the portfolio with the rest of the sectors we want to get into. So considering that the mining industry is down about 5% today, that's pretty good. Let me just check that. Okay, let me have a quick look at your comments, then we'll go through some of these stocks. We'll wait for the market to stabilize. Remember, the Japanese market has crashed pretty badly today, so is the UK market, down 3%. Oh, snuggle suits for the baby, says C. Marty. Yes, we've got that. We've already got that. We already have that. Thank you. Why buy silver when you can get spoils of war? What does that mean, Chris? Let me go. Mobix up 150k. Look at. Unfortunately, I can't do any more requests. We're coming to the end of the show. The horse's mouth says at least 5 weeks, probably boots on the ground. If it's that scenario, then we've got major inflation problems. HYMC will go to $100. Hello, do you think it's a bottom for XRP? No, I don't. Songs for Space says, prepare to get a suntan from the red on screen. Sensei snuggle for the baby. You'll thank me. Thank you, C. Marty. Yes, we've got some snuggles. Thank you for that. Well, I'm glad you're recommending it as well. Bell says, human being will give you some more sleep. Nvidia says, human being Liz. Yes, Nvidia down. What is it now? Let's keep an eye on Nvidia. Trying to make it's down 1.9% currently. Music low. Nvidia does the same. It's bad. It's great being a dad. Hard work mind, says Jamie Reese. Who's something on oil? You cooking? Hi, Sensei. Can you look at SILJ? We'll do some requests at some point. We'll do a show where we do super chats for requests. But right now, we're about to end up. Mobix almost up 200%. Yeah, it's going to be a volatile day for Mobix. Pity we don't have Mobix. Why don't you have Mobix, human being Liz? What do you mean we? What do you mean we don't have Mobix? I don't understand what you mean by that. Oh, you don't have it in the US? What do you mean we don't have Mobix? I just got the ones that go the other way. 212 have it, Jamie. Oh yeah, what do you mean I have the ones that go the other way? Biggest collapse in history is brewing, says Golden. If we can lower the music, yeah, I apologize. I'll keep that in mind. It'll be on my watch list. Bro, the music. Look at Mobix. Music is drowning your voice. Sorry about that. Sorry. Yes, bad day today. Music down. Please do it loud. Sorry. We love the tune, says human being Liz. Going to explode shipping tanks, says James. I'm hoping DVLT takes off in March, expecting some big revenue to be confirmed. I'm muted. I'm muted? That's weird. No, we're not muted. We're all good. Refresh if muted. We're all good. Sound is fine. Music down, going to explode. We love the tune. I'm also helping DVLT take off in March, expecting some big revenue. Mirror and the non-member trolls dislike the music. The Lucas says appreciate the music. Archer down 10%, can't hear. You're muted. Guys, can you just refresh? It's all good. Why is people saying you're muted? That's on your end. You have to refresh YouTube. YouTube has some issues. Silent for 2 minutes now. Chris, if you're silent, we can hit. I don't understand. Refresh if any issues. Anyway, I don't understand. We're good. I know I'm good. I've just listened to myself. We're all good. Okay. Final look at the markets. You know what would be interesting to try? Would be one of these Substack lives. Let me see if I can set one up. Bear with me. We have come towards the end of the show now. We have been live for the bell, so I'll keep the S&P 500 on the screen for a second while I see if I can set up one of these lives. Create live. Let me see if I can do it here. I've been wanting to test out this live feature on Substack. Let's see if I can do it. Go live. Allow. Audience. We do everyone. I won't send an email out. To let me just see if I can set this up. Let's do it to 15. Why can't I set up for 2? Oh no, I can't. Okay, fine. I won't schedule it. I'll go next. Test live stream. Next. No co-host. Skip. Let me just see this. Okay. Share the link. Copy link. Let me see if this link works, and then I'll give it to you guys. We'll also be going to the extra channel, but I just want to test this as well. Yeah. Great show, Sensei. Did you guys enjoy today's show? Guys, if you're having issues with sound, it's YouTube. Close window, open if sound. That's very weird, sound issues. It's not on my end. I have not been muted. I'm getting much better with my muted. I don't think I've done that in a long time. I had to close window and reopen. Yeah, did you guys enjoy today's show? Let me know. Obviously I did longer. I covered the opening bell. Enjoyed today's show. Let me go to live chat. You guys did? Do you guys want an after show party? Say yes or no. After show party, because we are waiting for Martyn to go live. I think he'll be live in half an hour. He will explain why he's just having a couple personal issues. So we will. Yeah, we'll go to the extra channel, and then Martyn will be live later today. Gotta go. Great show. Thank you, RB Fun Times. I want you guys to stay with me for a second, because do you want an after show party? Yes or no? Oh, the S&P 500 just took a hit again. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Should we do it? Should we do an after show party? Let me just check. I can do this. Yes, we do. Okay, well, let me redirect this show firstly to the extra channel. So that would be the YouTube show. That would be go to the extra channel. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to test a Substack feature. Remember, Substack is the newsletter. I think you have to have at least the free plan to be joining. Or maybe the link will let you join anyway. That is the link to the newsletter. Again, the newsletter has all sorts of perks and benefits, but we're going to try and do a live show on there right now. Yes, happy to do opening bell with you. You guys enjoyed the show and you want the after show party. Yeah, enjoyed the show. Yeah. Gold key level. Okay, thanks, guys. I don't know if you're saying yes, you enjoyed the show, or yes, you want an after show party now. Let me do a poll. I'll do a poll because I have no idea. Let me end that poll, and then we'll see what everyone's results were on that. Start poll. Start poll. After show party. I don't know why I'm calling it a party. It's not really going to be a party. Yes. No. Will you join our after show party? Yes, no. Start poll. So what was the previous poll? What were you doing? I'm going to join. So let me press yes. Let me move that. Please do vote in the poll. What are you doing with your portfolio right now? 40% of you are buying the dip, holding, not touching anything. 35% just watching. Then we'll decide 15%, selling 10%. It's great to see people are not panic selling, but unfortunately, this isn't even the point where people get emotional. This is nothing. This is a 2% correction on the S&P 500. This is a 3 or 4% dip on the S&P 500. This is a 10% correction on singular stocks. It's great to see that people are not panic selling. However, it could go lower. I mean, the point where we will see panic selling is when the S&P 500 is down another 5-10%, if and when that happens. I want a pre-show, after show, says Jerry. So it's great to see people aren't selling, but I mean, it's not the true test yet, because we aren't really in that. This is not really anything major. The flash crash was promised 4,000 years ago. Yes. Happy to do opening bell. Yes, who doesn't love a party? Okay, let's test it out then. So I'm going to give you a link. Copy link. Guys, this might go wrong. I've never done this, so you're participating in a test. Here is the link. Actually, firstly, let me find the extra channel. YouTube will go to the extra channel, and then I'm going to give you a link if you want to join the Substack live, which we're testing for the first time ever. Then I'll give you the link in the live chat. Let me put that here. Stream settings. Edit. Customization. Oh, it's already done for the extra channel. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to give you the link. Copy Copy link. This is where I'll be live in about 2 minutes time. And I just want to test it. I'll only be live for a few minutes, but if everyone can jump in and just test it with me, that'll be brilliant. So I'm going to end the show. I've given you the link to, if you stay where you are, it will be taken to the extra channel. If you click on that link, you can go to the live event, which I'm starting. In fact, I might even see if I can start it while we're live. Shall I do that? Let me try it. Oh, Yolanda's here. Yolanda's already there. You guys can already comment there. You can be live in both if you want. Let me press go live. We're live. I think we're connecting. I might not be using the best internet. That's the only thing. Let me turn off the internet. Are we live? Can you let me know in Substack, guys? Are we live? Okay, I'm going to end the show on YouTube now. I'm going to end the show on YouTube. You're getting a behind the scenes look right now on Substack. Okay, I'm going to give you the link one last time. Internet is unstable. Yeah, I'm not using the best internet. Okay, there's a link in the YouTube chat. If you guys want to see a behind the scenes to the show, there you go. The link is in the live chat. Anyone on YouTube, click on that link now. We're live on Substack. I want to see if you guys can let me know how it is on Substack. All the S&P 500 is now dropping even more. Okay, let me end the show on YouTube. I'll see you guys in Substack. If you stay where you are, you also go to the extra channel. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other.